than she's actually got. She's got a bag over her shoulder as well. And in terms of those figures, I think that's all I want to do, and I'll probably just leave them like that. So as I say, I'm going to paint up these 4 guys, probably do something with the background at first, and then these guys will be the main focus of the painting. Okay, well, I've loaded up my palette with tinting white, cadmium yellow light, cadmium red, ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, burnt umber. These are all the interactive acrylics. Now, in terms of the way I treat the background, these guys are standing on tarmac or pavement, which is quite dark, and they're also wearing dark trousers and shoes, and I quite want those trousers and shoes to kind of stand out a little more than they are. So my plan is to leave the pavement completely white, which will kind of flow into this area here, which I'm planning to leave untouched. But for the background on the left, and for perhaps the top of the background here, I want a little more contrast between the white hat and the white shirts of the guys. So my plan is to kind of hint at the busy reflective background we've got without going into too much detail there. So we'll see how well that works, but I've got an idea for that. So I've got a wide synthetic brush. It looks to be about 1.5 inches wide. It's a flat. So I'm going to grab some of the yellow, and we'll mix that. We'll grab just a touch of the cad red, touch of the cerulean, which has made things greener than I wanted. So we'll go back in with a bit more of the red. Now I've gone way too red, so let's get some yellow there. Okay, we're starting to get in the general direction I wanted. We'll take a big lump of the white. And I don't want to mix it too thoroughly. I'm also going to pick up a little bit of the yellow on that corner of the brush. And I've no idea if this is going to work all that well, but we'll give it a whirl. Spray the paper with water. And here we go. Okay, so I quite like the texture I'm getting with just applying the brush very lightly. Let's change the direction of the brush strokes over here. I'm deliberately leaving white gaps of uncoated paper. But you can see the different colours are coming out onto the paper because I didn't thoroughly mix the paint and I picked up that little bit of yellow. So I want to partially cover that first attempt at the second guy's head. Now, if that shows through in the final painting, I don't mind too much because it's going to kind of hint that there's a bit of movement going on. I've got a bit of a drip here, which I'm not overly happy about. So we'll just sweep through that rather quickly. And although I wanted to keep the pavement completely white, that's no longer the case, but I'm not too concerned about that. Now, I like the burst of red that I got there. And I think that will probably do for the background. So just added some fresh yellow to my palette, and I'm switching to a smaller 1/2 inch brush now. I've got that background tone still there, so let's make use of that, and we'll put some more white in and a bit more of the red. And that can be the beginnings of a flesh tone. So I'm going to just gently mist the paper with water. Well, it was a bit more than a gentle mist, it was a bit of a steady downpour, but I haven't soaked it through, that's the point. Now for this guy's face, let's just put a block of tone in there. And then, although I can't see all of his shirt collar, I can think about the negative space the shirt collar creates, so it creates a little V. And then his hand is sort of 3 fingers, and then there's a little finger down there, which is away from the others. And then his forearm comes down and to the left, it gets obviously wider as it goes towards the elbow. Now, in this photo I can't, well, at the distance I am from my screen, I can't see all that clearly what's going on with his hands, but the general shape is something like that. And then his other forearm comes down there. And then I can move over to the second guy. So we can block in his face. Notice I took care to just slightly put a gentle V there for his hairline. And again, thinking about the shape that his collar makes against his neck. And then we're down to this arm. And hand. So I'm just going to sweep the brush that way for the suggestion of a hand. And then let's see if I can do something similar for the other hand as well. We'll go against the bristles. I'm not sure that worked all that well, but it'll do for a first pass. And then got an arm there. Guy number 3. Again, a little V shape for the neck. A bit of paint went a bit wayward there, but I'll leave it for now. We'll see if we can get away with that. We'll see what the overall effect is nearer the end. Now so the hand on the banjo here, just got to think about the general shape the fingers are making. So they're curved around that way. And the back of the hand is there. I'm going to lift off that bit. Oh, I can probably cover that later. And then, now this hand, which is doing the plucking or strumming, sort of angled that way, comes up there a bit. The knuckles kind of come down that way. And then there's a bit of forearm showing. And then moving across to the final guy, blocking his face. Now he's puffing quite hard, so we'll exaggerate a little bit and bellow his cheeks out. Well, it's not that much of an exaggeration actually, now that I look again. Neck, hand, back of the hand, and a bit of wrist. Okay, so that's worked okay so far, I feel. Okay, well, I'm going to stick with the same brush, although I've cleaned it out now. We'll grab some of the ultramarine and Mix that up down there. And grab a good lump of the burnt umber. And that's going to give us a nice dark bluish colour. And then again, just very lightly, wrong bottle, very lightly. So I'm not spraying directly at the paper, just sort of up into the air nearby, letting some of the water land on it. And then we'll start to put in the waistcoats and things that these guys are wearing. So I'm going to start on the right this time.